Welcome to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. Joining me today is Terry, who has survived a disappointment at the theater to come back and join us, talking about Cenk Tosun, Tosun Pasha, for those of you who like nicknames and whatnot. He played well for Turkey recently. Had a really nice Turkish international match the other day. 2 goals, 1 assist. Looked pretty good. So I think the real, he did get the last time he played for us, he did get an assist. He headed that one over to, I think it was Iwobi. It was a good little run of play from him. So this has started to drag up a lot of folks who are saying he needs to be playing more, or just playing some at all, because he's hardly playing at all. And that's going to happen when your strikers aren't scoring goals. We're going to constantly be looking, okay, what else do we have? Well, I was trying to ask myself what players I could think of with his sort of qualities that have had success or starting runs in the Premier League. Immediately I jumped, and these are Glenn Murray plays similarly, but he's taller. He's got more size. So he wins a lot more in the air, all right? And Giroud is like the, Mercedes version of that, all right? He's just, these are players that can score a lot of one-touch goals, good one-touch finishers, all right? But Cenk Tosun doesn't have the height. And Troy Deeney seems like he's about the same type of height. But I would even go so far as to say Troy Deeney is maybe a little bit stronger and even a little more quick. So, who is Tosun like, and does that matter? Number one, I always just like to see if there's a blueprint for a player that's similarly out there at the moment. And number two, is he going to fit anything that Silva really wants to do? Because I've always had the impression that Silva likes speed up front. And he is not speed. He's a cultured, for the most part, clinical finisher, but he doesn't win a lot of 50-50 balls. The goals, the balls coming out of the back that Pickford's launching, DCL's winning those for the most part. All right, he's going to do the best job. But Tosun's not going to do that. I'm trying to figure out how he fits and how he can work. So Terry, give me a piece of your mind on this.
Just trying to think who he's like. I mean, I hesitate to make the comparison. He's like a budget, like Harry Kane, isn't he? He's not fast, but he's not strong. His game is completely about finishing and instincts around the box, that kind of thing. Obviously, Harry Kane is, vastly, higher quality at those things than he is, and but in just pure stylistic terms, I'd say they're like a similar sort of mold of a striker. Tosun, I think, from like the fans' point of view, his role now is the role he's going to have. He's on the bench every game. There's 2 strikers ahead of them, but one of them's 19 and is still in his grace periods. And people are easing off Keane a little bit. He's new to the country. He's new to the league. He's new to the club. Everything that goes with that. I think these 2 goals on international duty from the fans' point of view couldn't come at a better time for Tosun, because Calvert-Lewin is in, rightly or wrongly, in my opinion, wrongly, but it's just my opinion, in the doghouse with everyone at the minute, because he's missed a couple of chances and he's not even he's not even getting himself amongst a lot of chances in some games. So people are crying out for something different, and Cenk Tosun is very much different to Calvert-Lewin. He's not as fast, he's not as strong, he is a much better finisher, he does score more goals when he gets the opportunities, but he's the third choice striker. He's going to, the fans may, have their view, but the management clearly see Keane, and all things going well, see Keane as the number 1 choice because they brought him in, and Calvert-Lewin is there competing with him as well, and he's a useful player, and he's got a specific role, and he's good against certain opposition. Tosun also has a role, and he's good against certain opposition, but less so than Calvert-Lewin. He's going to come on a lot less. He's not going to see as many minutes, and he's expensive I don't think they want a third choice striker on the books for those kind of wages who basically can command a decent fee. I think if any bid of acceptable size came in for him, he would have went, or he would have been encouraged to go. He doesn't seem to want to go. I think in an ideal world, Brandon Silva are still trying to strip the squad back to a small core of players that they want to use. And I think they only see 2 strikers in that. They only play one. So I think they see if having Keane and Calvert-Lewin and then an auxiliary third choice in a case of an emergency. We've got an injury to both players or a suspension. We'll put Richarlison there for a short spell and then, go back. Tosun is a bit of a luxury player to have in the books where he's a good finisher, he's an alright target man, but we're not going to use him. We're not going to use him unless we absolutely have to. So this is probably about as good as it's going to get for him this season. He's not going to start games, so it doesn't matter. Unless there's injuries, he won't start based on form because he just doesn't fit this sort of vision that Silva has for the team. He's not fast enough. He doesn't press well enough. He can press, but he's just not like Calvert-Lewin, and that's going to hold him back. Because we've tried it. We saw against Newcastle at home last season. He really struggled when he had to play from the start and couldn't really put a mark on them. But he's been effective recently coming off the bench. So I think that's probably going to be the extent of his involvement this season.
Yeah, I think his work rate is really high. When I watch Moise Kean play, I don't think he's quite got the fitness that DCL has in terms of pressing all the time. You just don't see it as much from him yet. I think it'll come. I'm not worried about it. But right now, I think we'd get possibly better pressing out of Cenk Tosun. Okay? Having said that, when I see Tosun go man-to-man with someone, I'm not expecting him to get past them. Right, Moise Kean, I do. I think Moise Kean can create his own shot if there's 2 players between him and the goal. I think he can do that. Now, if Cenk Tosun were to get a full game with this kind of support, with the players that would surround him, would he score? That's possible. It's possible. I just want to make it clear that just because he's not the fastest of the 3, it doesn't mean he wouldn't be able to score. I think he could produce some. I do. You give him the chances that DCL has had, I think he tucks them away. But it's rough because right now is sort of a development moment for DCL and Moise Kean. And you want to take advantage of those times while you can. Tosun, when you were talking about him, okay, I don't know if this is the best comparison at all, but it made me smile. The idea that he's like this taller Stephen Naismith. Because they're both clever, like passers, you know what I mean? Combining with other players, they both make intelligent decisions for the most part. They both are like opportunistic in the box. They both can score with their head. They both are good one-touch finishers. I think he is a good enough player to play in this league. I do. I think if he were to play for us and start for us, he could score some goals for us, but it's weird. I'm just trying to figure out what Silva's trying to do, and to me, it seems like he wants that speed up front to press the opposition into making some mistakes.
Do you know what I think it is with Tosun? I think he'd be ideal in a actual proper front 3, but in a 4-3-3. But we don't play it. We play 4-2-3-1, which basically leaves him and Sigurdsson as the most advanced players, and the wide players obviously stay a lot further back and a lot further wide. Whereas if we had a middle 3 and he had players up alongside him who we could make little combinations with and play off. It's what he had at Besiktas. I forget Ricardo Quaresma and Ryan Babel he did it with, but it was so the quality is obviously not as high as the players we've got, but it was a orthodox front 3 that played high up the pitch, and he created a good sort of unit. I don't want to say partnership. So people seem to think, oh yeah, he's better in a 2. He's actually better in a 3, but we just don't play that. Not really. We play a sort of 2, but Sigurdsson's the other player, and it just does not suit him. If Sigurdsson, for example, was to touch wood, get a month-long injury, and we started playing 4-3-3, you'd probably see Cenk Tosun have a new lease of life. He'd be really good in that sort of setup. But right now, I think Sigurdsson's one of the names that is one of the first names on the team sheet. So it's can't be him. It has to be someone who can play up front on their own and is a lot faster and a lot more mobile, that can do that work without the partnership or the other players around them immediately when they get the ball. And at the minute, of the three strikers, the other two do that a lot better. They're a lot faster. They're a lot better in the sprint. It just doesn't. He's just doesn't suit them.
Have you seen a game where you've seen him play in the Premier League where at any point, let me rephrase this. Every single time I've seen him play in the Premier League, I've thought at one point or another, he's getting bullied by their center backs. It's happened every time. He's a guy, his attitude seems great. It seems great. It seems like he'll run all day for you. It seems like he wanted to stay and fight for his chance at Everton. He really wants to be an Everton player. That's what it seems like. All right. Now had a baby last year, right? Probably also pretty settled. Probably not wanting to move for his family and a lot of other reasons. But I think he's also getting some positive feedback from the coaching staff. So I feel like someone's telling him, hey, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Keep doing it. It's just these other guys are a little bit better. I bet they're saying, hey, we appreciate you here. I bet they're not telling him to leave. I do think if he went to Germany, he'd light it up. I think he would look really good in Germany. And I think that is very possible as to where he will go next when he does go. But I'm worried about him playing for us with any kind of regularity. And remember, he's not a young buck. You know what I mean? I feel like, is he 28 now? 27, 28?
Yeah, around that. I actually think he'd be good in another Premier League team who play a different style, where he's not expected to just be by himself. Because other teams do play 4-3-3. It's just we don't. We play 4-2-3-1. I think if he went to a Palace or a Newcastle, or I know Palace play 4-4-2 a lot of the time, but if he went to a team which would play him up along with other forwards and wouldn't expect him to play by himself with a number 10 right up next to him, he'd be great. I don't think he'd move to Germany. I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. Yeah. Or at a push go back to Besiktas because it's his boyhood club, and I don't think he wants to do that. I think he feels like he's made the move into the Premier League, and I think Premier League clubs probably were interested in him in the summer. There was certainly linked with a lot of them, but I think we've probably priced a lot of them out because while they may want him, they probably didn't want to pay our price. So maybe next summer when the price will come down with a year less on his contract, you might see. Yeah, I think Newcastle were linked with him. You might see some other clubs who might lose their striker. Come in with him as a replacement. You never know.
Comparing Cenk Tosun to that striker that Newcastle have right now. That striker Newcastle has right now is just bigger, faster, younger. Yeah, you know what I mean? I look at every club and I look at their strikers, and it seems like they have a lot of them. Just those strikers have points on top of them, and I'm not sure if he would necessarily start for them. It's hard to say. I do think he's good enough to play in the league. I just don't know for how long. And it may be like when he does find a role, it's as a reserve coming off the bench for someone. He seems like a professional. I can't do a lot of arguing for him right now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But these people that are saying he's scoring goals in other places, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to straight up say, yeah, but that's against a small international side. I can say that, but at the same time, it's good that someone's banging in goals. You know the way it works. You get in a zone, you start banging them in one place. Sometimes that's contagious and carries over. Sometimes you hit a little bit of a schneid and it carries over as well. So yeah, would it be worth it? Do you think? When's the next time you think Cenk Tosun plays? Do you think it's in the cup?
Yeah, but I don't even think he starts then. I just think he's going to come off the
Agreed.
bench every game, providing there's no
I
injuries.
agree. Totally. That's exactly my thoughts. Yeah. Right on. Anything else on Tosin Pasha? Looks. Oh, you were about to say something.
Yeah, it's probably why he plays. He looks good when he comes off the bench because he's always an attacking sub. So we're obviously playing higher up the pitch, and we've used to put Lookman on with him, who would also stay high. So it's probably why he looks better as a sub because he's not because the other players are tired. It's because we're going for the goal, and he's got players to play around. But when it's from the start and you sort of feeling it out, that's when he looks poor. So I think that's his role for as long as he's at the club now. Is just impact sub. You want a striker in the box who can snatch a chance because the two young lads aren't doing it. And that's what he's happy with. That's fine by me. Stay on the bench, be one of the options to come on. But I don't see him starting any games with everyone healthy.
Yeah, I think it's a tough nut to crack starting from the beginning. You look at every single one of our strikers, they do well as impact sub, you bring them in, and they don't do as well from the get-go. You know what I mean? I remember people arguing for Nias because he was coming in and getting some goals as an impact sub. And then he comes in and everybody's just shaking their head like, why were we starting him again? What was the process? Our brain, we were, high or something? Is that what was going on? So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is one of those. I agree with you. I think, but it's we also have to. I understand where people are coming from when they say, "Hey, give him some time, give him a chance." With this supporting cast, he'd probably do better. So, all right. Anything else on Tosin Pasha?
No.
All right.
No.
That's it for the Cenk Tosun segment. If you've been digging the videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We sincerely appreciate it. If you want more Terry, walk out of your house and chances are he's strolling past you, giving you a friendly smile and a gentle wave. Give the man a hug and then say, hey, what's your Twitter handle? Because I want to go see when you're going to show up on the Liverpool Echo fan jury. And Terry's like, no, don't do that. I'll tell you everything I'm going to say for the next 10 months right now. And when you're done with that 15-minute speech, we'll move on. Right? I just went in as weird as I could with that, Terry. I was like, I don't want this to make sense in any way. All right. So yeah, check him out there. There's that. If you want more me, I got nothing for you. Come to North Carolina. Yeah. But that's it. We're going to hop on over to the podcast, finish this up, do a pod-only segment where Terry is going to do a mastermind-style quiz. His specialist subject of choice, center backs from Everton, David Moyes era forward. Okay? So, his very specific specialist subject. So check it out over there. Maybe you'll get some of those read as well. All right. Terry, thanks a lot, man. I'll see you in just a minute. For everybody else, much love. Let's get the 3 points this weekend. Thank you. Bye. Wow, good distance.